Hello, it's Richard Haggerty here, and thank you for joining me. Listen, I want to talk about smoking and anxiety because having worked for well over 2 decades helping people to quit smoking for good, to stop smoking permanently, much more recently to stop vaping, but all those things, whether it's coming off cannabis or whether it's just pure cigarettes, anxiety is a problem. Anxiety is something that drives what's going on for people who smoke. Okay, and we know that anxiety is something that it's a powerful emotion that studies are showing are actually a contributing factor to people falling off the wagon when they want to quit. Okay, specifically, for example, if somebody has quit and they start being triggered through a little bit of boredom, that snowballs into some anxiety, and that anxiety causes them to start smoking again. And what we want to do is we want to break that habit. We want to break the connection between the anxiety. Um, when you think about it, most people want to stop smoking. Most smokers want to stop smoking, but they have a lot of regret. They hate the fact that they're smoking. They want to quit, but they don't feel that they can. They don't know how to deal with the anxious feelings that are coming up. And this causes problems socially. For example, now that so many people don't smoke, I've heard of more than one smoker who is eating like a pig, in their words, just to keep their mouth busy when they're out socializing. Because what they're thinking about is their next cigarette. And that causes, of course, a lot of anxiety. Where can I go to smoke? Where can I go to have that cigarette? And we want to break that cycle. So we know that anxiety causes and drives the smoking habit. In fact, let's face it, having some anxiety is a very normal part of life. Because what is anxiety? It's an emotion that is telling us to be careful and to prepare for possibilities that might happen so that we're able to mitigate those, plan for those, avoid those, minimize those, or put some kind of plan in action. So actually the underlying intention of anxiety is very, very useful. However, of course, the a persistent kind of sense of unease inside is not good. And that is something that is really at the heart of driving people who smoke because they don't know how to manage this. So smoking itself is not the real problem, much as you might think. It's not the actual thing, all right? Because when you think about it, the actual act of not going to buy cigarettes is straightforward. The actual act of not picking up, a little cancer stick, as people call them, with the smoke coming off and putting them out, the act of not doing that is pretty straightforward. And truth to tell, most people don't actually like the taste and smell of cigarettes. Of course, that's different with cigars, can be different with pipe tobacco, etc. But the actual taste and smell of cigarettes is not very nice. Okay, so the act of not doing something that's not really very nice it's not difficult. It's kind of like giving up junk food. Most people, particularly really cheap, say junk food you might pick up in a supermarket, they could leave that alone. So if the actual smoking habit is not the problem, what is the real problem? The problem is the underlying emotions that you're feeling inside. Okay, and anxiety is an important one because what happens with the smoking habit is it's twinged with a lot of anxiety. You've got the guilt of the habit. There tends to be regret. A lot of people live in regret that they are smoking, or that they went back on the wagon, or that they haven't followed through on their commitment to quit. And they're worried about how that might impact them. But on a day-to-day thing, of course, they've got the anxiety of, when can I smoke? You know, when can I do this? All right. So what I've noticed, what I've observed is that my clients who smoke, um, uh, when they get in contact with me and they tell me what's going on, and obviously we work together to sort that out and to get them to be a non-smoker permanently for the rest of their life. What they tell me is that they're anxious about when and where they can smoke, and their whole life is geared around this idea. When's my next cigarette? So think about this for a minute. If your whole life is geared around, when can I have my next cigarette? Where's that going to be? All right. It's unlikely to be filled with joy. You're likely to experience stop smoking anxiety. Or rather, shall we say, the anxiety of the fact that smoking is driving everything that you're doing. Because you're either worried that you're not quitting, or you're more likely just anxious about when you're going to get your next fix. And how does that help you socially? How does that help you with friends? How does that help you to relax when you go out for a meal? How does that help you relax at the end of the day? It doesn't, because you're trapped. And so one of the things that's really important is to understand that a lot of the anxiety that people have from smoking actually comes from the context around smoking, the fact that they have to plan to do it, the fact that it's less social now, in fact it's considered quite antisocial, the fact that they have to live their lives trying to plan around it. And also, unfortunately, it means that when they should be relaxing, or they could be letting go, they're not, because they're on this kind of high alert about, where's my next cigarette coming from? Where can I go? When can I go? And then they feel the guilt and the regret of going for that, instead of just being present and calm and relaxing. Now, the good news is that you can easily relieve, like a wonderful deep breath, most of the anxiety that you think about smoking simply by making the change and making a decision to quit. All right. The stages of making a change like this involve starting from scratch by making a decision that you can notice what's going on. You can see this lack of calm and peace because of the anxiety about all the habits related to smoking, let alone what it's going to do for you, let alone what it's going to cause for you and the potential health problems. And then just making a decision as you look at that in the cold light of day, what's going to happen if you don't make a change. That this is only going to continue. All right, because if you don't make a change, if you don't make a decision to quit smoking, if you can't look in the cold hard light of day at the times of the day that you smoke, when you smoke and how that's working out for you, you won't really fully appreciate all the anxiety that comes from you engaging with the habit. Yes, there can be anxiety and stress in day-to-day life, but the actual habit itself compounds that. The money that you're spending, the health implications, the regret that you're feeling, the guilt that you feel around smoking, the fact that you can't sit for a whole meal with friends and enjoy that because you're going out for a cigarette, the fact that you can't enjoy a coffee without a cigarette. Okay, so understand that if you don't make these changes, if you don't make a decision to quit smoking, if you can't see what's happening inside you, then you will just continue this habit and you'll stay stuck, you'll feel trapped, and you'll feel that sense of regret. It can be different. You can quit smoking. You can stop. It is possible to do it. Just start to look in the cold hard light of day at the way that you're living your life and the times of the day and the triggers and what's going on, and you'll see exactly how you're contributing to keeping this going, which means you can change this.